Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to another edition of Audiomack Live, the official Afrobeats podcast, where we break down the hot topics within the culture in the studio. And sometimes I have a special guest who comes in to join me to talk a little bit deeper. As always, we're recording live from the Afromedia studios in London. We like your subscriptions, your comments, your sharing. Please continue to do that. That's how we get to pay the bills, so make sure you do it. And as always, you can also visit shoobs.com, where you can get tickets to any events happening anywhere, bottomless brunches, concerts, raves, club nights. And if you're an event promoter, you can also load your tickets on there for people to go and find you. So what are you waiting for? Get Shoobs in right now. Now back to my guest in the studio, all the way from Lagos, Nigeria. This brother is completely tearing up the world right now. They call him the African boyfriend. But a lot of us know him as Ckay!
Hey, what's good?
My brother, move close
Out
to
here, out here.
Listen, you're looking like money already. You're smelling like money already. Listen, I think it's platinum in France. I think it's gold in the UK. I know it's gold in Canada. I think it's... Have you run out of countries where this record this record is completely picking up plaques?
Yeah, like I even like there's some countries I haven't heard of that it was certified in. There was this country, I can't remember it, but I think I saw a tweet. Someone said I'm like Christopher Columbus discovering new country. But it's crazy, like people all around the world just showing love. Like that's just what it is. It's crazy. Like it doesn't matter the race, doesn't matter the color of their skin or the language they speak. They just connect with the energy, and that's just amazing.
Listen, before we get into the groundbreaking, earth-shattering record that is Love Nwantintin, if you didn't know, let's talk about Ckay a little bit. You've been around for quite some time as a writer, producer, basically someone in the studio in the background working not only on yourself but also alongside other talents. How would you summarize the story so far before the big break?
Man, it's hard to summarize it all, but let's just say I moved to Lagos in 2014, and that's when I ran away from home. And basically, when I came here, I kind of had a plan. I had like a master plan, so I could produce and I could write. So at that point, that was what I had to offer. So I had to do that for a while, until I could get the chance to put out my own music and do my own thing. So let's just say that journey led me to Chocolate City, then to Warner Music in 2020, which is where things like really, really kicked off. So I would say the journey has just been, it's just been a situation of me just following my process. Everyone has a process, everyone has a journey, and that was my journey. And now we're here at this point of the journey. It's still an ongoing journey, and we're still going somewhere. And I'm grateful for where I am right now. I'm grateful for everyone who has shown support and love in different ways, in little ways, in big ways. I feel like what we're doing right now is a combination of all that. So that's basically the story.
Now, one of the other things is, I know the last time we caught up in 2019 when you had come to London, you spoke about, having interest in astrophysics and, music deeply. And where did those, talk to me about that, those little things that made you different from the beginning?
Yeah. Well, it's just me. I'm weird, Sha.
We all are. Trust me.
I'm not like most people. So for me, I was really good at science in school, right? I just knew how to do it. Like, it wasn't hard for me.
Wow.
I was actually a straight A student. But the weird thing is, I just never saw myself doing any like doing any career that had to do with physics or chemistry or biology, because I just thought it was boring, like for me to actually do it. But reading about it and reading about like the universe and how the Big Bang happened and how existence as we know it's happened, it's really interesting. I think those things are interesting, but I just felt like I didn't want to do that for the rest of my life, so I wanted to do music. Music is what I loved, it's what interested me, and basically that's just
Yeah, you can pass it through. No worries about that. You can pass that through.
thank you.
The brother asked for some coffee. You know what I mean? That's the that's the first coffee request we've had in the studio.
Oh, bro.
I swear.
Ckay the first.
Hey, yo. And if you didn't know, that was his EP at the time, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah. So.
Yeah, Ckay the first is my. It's a very important EP for me. And it's so crazy because when I made that EP, I made it with the state of mind I was in was this is going to be like my representation of Afrobeats in different forms, like from the known to the unknown.
Yeah, okay,
From the known to the unknown. So from songs like DTF to Love Nwantintin to Kalakuta to Way to Ski to Benny with Barry J.
Getting goosebumps remembering that. Yo.
Yeah, so all those songs, I wanted to like capture different sides of Afrobeats in the way that I understood it, So I put that out, and I always knew that project was gonna change things, I always just knew, and I put it out. Most people didn't really understand the vision.
Yeah, the screen. Yeah, I'm listening. Okay. Keep on talking, bro.
Okay, most people didn't really understand the vision at the time. I would say even people in my team at the time, Like, for instance, Love Nwantintin was never a single. It was never my first single. It was never the song that, the label heard and like, oh, this is the hit. You know what I mean? Because it was not a club record. It wasn't a.
Yes.
So like, but I always just knew. Actually, I always just knew. So that's basically the story. And Ckay the first is on Billboard right now. So
wow,
it's crazy.
You speak about the sound, especially you making your own version of Afrobeats, which you call, is it
Emo-Afrobeats? Yeah.
Talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so basically Afrobeats, for anyone who has been listening to Afrobeats from time, you know that the sound has evolved.
Yep.
From the time of Fela to the time of Victor Wifo, Rex Lawson, around that period, I would say that the music all these people were making was the foundation of what all of us are doing right now.
1000%.
We built on what these pioneers did.
Yeah.
So music, Afrobeats has always been very heavy on rhythm and dance. And, sometimes it was about talking about issues of the country.
Yeah.
Like Fela was addressing social injustice and stuff. So it was in that space at the time. So for me, in my time and place that I find myself, I just feel like my interpretation of Afrobeats should reflect who I am and what is most important to me. So I talk about love and I talk about my emotions in my music. I'm a Cancer. That's my star sign, and Cancers are emotional people. So I just put that energy into the music. It's the same rhythm, it's the same Afrobeats, but it just has Ckay energy in it. So most people, when they listen to my music, it's like the feelings I was feeling, it's like recreated in them when they listen to it. And that's basically what Emo-Afrobeats is. Afrobeats, but with emotions in it.
How did you learn to produce?
It was okay, so it was around when was that? I think when I just got into secondary school. So there was this old friend of he was my elder brother's friend, actually. He wasn't even my friend. So I always used to hang out with my elder brother, who was like 6 years older than me. So his best friend, his name was Emmanuel. So after they graduated from my school, I hadn't seen him in like 4 or 5 years. So my parents, we moved to a new house, and he turns out to be our neighbor.
Wow.
So, we linked up and we're just catching up, and he was like, he played me music that he was making. I'm like, whoa, you made this? Like, he made a beat and he was so good. And I'm like, I can't believe you made these beats with this computer. Is a lie. Like, you mean you didn't play bass, you didn't play keyboard, you didn't play everything. Like, you just sat down
On the
and made these
computer.
beats. And he was like, yeah. So I'm like, okay, bro, you got to teach me.
Wow.
Or else we'll fight. So he taught me the basics. But the funny thing is, after he taught me, he just went AWOL. So he didn't like see it through to the end. So I had to like, after that first lesson, I was kind of left hanging. So I had to learn the rest
Wow.
on my own. I had to go online. In fact, at that time, internet in Niger was so slow that
Long.
you couldn't really stream YouTube at that time. So it was articles I learned from,
Wow.
not really videos. It was articles. I would read the help files from the software.
Wow.
It was FL Studio at the time, so I was reading the help stuff. Then I was making beats every single day. That's kind of how I learned. I started recording myself with the headset mic.
Wow.
I didn't have money to buy a real mic, so I saved my pocket money from school and I bought a headset mic, and I was using that mic to record. I recorded my first song. And in school, people heard my music and they're like, "Yo, we like this stuff." So other people started asking me to produce for them in school.
No way.
So I would come to school with that mic, that same mic, and record them. And it's so funny because in my school, phones were not allowed and laptops were not allowed.
But you snuck
But
it in.
I snuck it in.
As
Yeah.
a bad guy. First of all, have you heard or seen Emmanuel since then?
I heard him. We spoke actually like 2 months ago. Funny enough.
Way.
Yeah, we spoke and he was like, "Yo, I'm so proud of everything you're doing." He's always been a great guy, man. It's so funny because he didn't even take music as serious as I did. Eventually, he's an engineer right now. He's doing very well, actually. But for me, yeah, I feel like that day he played me those beats and I realized that I could make a song like in my house without going to a studio. Because I mean, I couldn't afford studios. That day was the day that my life changed.
Wow.
Because I realized that okay, I can do this shit. So I died there.
What was your childhood like? Talk to me about the family setting. You mentioned briefly that you basically ran away from home to follow your dream of being a musician. Talk to me about, the family setting and your childhood. What it was like, where it was.
Yeah. So I grew up in a city, in a town rather, called Kaduna. It's in northern Nigeria. It's a predominantly Islamic town, actually. And my parents were Christians. We were a Christian family. So my dad used to go to an Anglican church.
Yep.
And he was the choir master of that church and the organist. And my mom used to go to a Pentecostal church. So they used to go to two different churches. So from time to time, I would shuffle between my mom's church and my dad's church. And I would say, yeah, my parents were very strict, actually, very, very strict. So they didn't really let me go out that much. So I had lots of time at home, and I'm very hyperactive. I can't sit down in one place. Like,
Arms folded.
Yeah, I'm hyper. So I need to be doing shit. So at that time, that's when I just discovered, production and that I could record music. Before then, I was just playing piano. My dad taught me how to play. So I learned how to play piano from actual reading notation.
Wow.
Like I used to read
the music stuff.
Yeah, so my dad used to teach me hymns and stuff. So I had all the books for hymns and Mozart and a couple stuff. So I used to play those. But at one point, I was just like, I don't think I learned keyboard to be playing people's music. I just felt like I wanted to make my own music. So I didn't really know how to compose or anything, but I was just doing my thing, and I got better at it over time. So that's pretty much it. My parents didn't let me do much, but I was just in my room always doing this. My parents used to complain that every day I'm making noise, my loud music, this one, but me, I didn't care. I'm like, if you didn't let me go out, then I
At least.
beg.
But when you moved to Lagos, leaving home, your home comfort, your home turf, behind, going into the big city of Lagos, that must have been daunting. How old were you when you went to Lagos, and what was that experience like? just coming to a big city, chasing a dream, having nothing and knowing nobody?
Yeah, I think I was 19
God damn it.
or so. Yeah, I think I was 19. I mean, it was it was crazy. Like I was on the plane, and when I was on the plane, I was like, I don't know, something was telling me this plane would crash.
Yeah, your mind just starts running.
Yeah, and I was like, please let this plane not crash so that my parents will now not say I told you. Even though I won't be alive for them to say I told you. But anyways, the plane didn't crash, and I got to Lagos safely. Um, it was scary, man. I was staying with a friend of mine for a while. He was also a producer, and he was working with the label in Surulere. So they gave him an apartment to stay. So I stayed with him for like a month before I got mine. And it was yeah, man, it was just like it's not like I came and I knew I knew the big shots and I knew everyone. I literally came from zero, bro. Like literally. Like when I came to Lagos, I was working in 4 studios at the same time, you know.
As a producer, engineer?
Yeah. So I'll go to the studios and I would ask them like, oh, I can produce, I can mix, blah blah blah. I'll play them my stuff, and most of the studios already had producers,
Yeah.
unfortunately. So I was like, okay, cool, but I can mix. Do you need an engineer? And they're like, oh yeah. So I was mixing for some studios, I was producing for some, and the fifth studio was Chocolate City studio. That was the fifth studio. So I was shuffling all these places until I kind of found my feet. Pretty much, that's how the
That's
story was.
crazy. Now, we mentioned CK the First. We mentioned, your genre of Afro beats. Now it's time to talk about this crazy record, Love Nwantintin. For Nigerians, we know what that means. That just means sweet love, and it's just over loving. Talk to me about the record, how they come about, and yeah.
Man, Love Nwantintin is. So I literally made that record. I didn't even make it in a studio. I made it in a living room, in a parlor.
Wow.
Yeah, it was in I think 1004
Yeah.
in VI. That's where I made it, and yeah, it was like around midnight. I was making a beat. Then after I made the beats, I freestyled on the beat. Like that's how I make most songs. So I just made it and I went to sleep. Then in the morning, I woke up and I heard it. I'm like, oh, man. I was going to put words to the chorus. But when I woke up in the morning and I heard it, I'm like, this is actually hard as it is. I tried to put words, but it wasn't sweet. So I took it off and I kept it as it was. And yeah, that's pretty much how I made that song. And I would say Love Nwantintin has been through a whole journey, man. Like,
Facts.
the original version was never a single. It was never really seen as a single by the label at the time.
Did you see
was
it
a
as a
s-
single?
I actually did. Me and my A&R.
Because I remember
My
you
A&R
and I
Shay.
had conversations about that. And you were, at that beginning, you were particular. You wanted a video for it. You felt that he would, so that meant that there was conversations.
Yeah, it was. I would say specifically it was me and my A&R. His name was Shay. Shay really believed in the record too. But I don't know, somehow maybe people were not just seeing what we were seeing. So, I mean, we dropped the EP and organically, like, that was the go-to song for all the girls. So all the girls were making Instagram stories, Insta stories to the record, makeup videos, mostly makeup videos and vibing videos. So that's kind of when I started to be like, okay, I'm not crazy. So we did a remix with Joe Boy and Kwame Eugene. Then we shot the video and we dropped it on Valentine's Day, 2020. And like a month later, it started to kick off. Literally just as COVID came.
Shutting down.
Yeah.
I know you tried to shoot for it before, and
Yeah.
you weren't happy with the video. wasn't it?
It's so crazy. That video, I ended up editing it myself.
I
The
remember,
one we shot. Yeah, because it didn't come out well, and it was like a whole long story though. But I edited it. I had to edit it myself. The short film. It's on my YouTube and it's pretty nice actually. It's a whole story, and it's like if you listen to the project and you watch the film, you understand. You'll get it. So it's called Alien. It's on YouTube, on my YouTube. Check it out. So yeah, basically we shot that video, we put it out, and a month later it started to go crazy. One of the first moments was Winnie Harlow requesting it on Diddy's live. So after that, um, a series of things also kept happening internationally, and people started to notice, like people in America, people in the UK, people in other European countries were like, oh, this song, you know. But then, okay, after that, different artists now kept reaching out to do remixes.
Yeah.
We're only gonna do one remix at first, but or rather, the label was gonna do one remix, but then different artists kept reaching out. So it's so funny because the Moroccan remix, El Grande Toto DM'd me 24 hours before the deadline, and he's like, "Yo, let's do a Moroccan remix for this song. It's crazy."
Because I know, like, after the Joe Boy remix, you went on a run with
Yeah.
like remixes. How many did you eventually do?
I think it was 5 or so, or 4, and that Moroccan one, he literally sent that the last minute, and we put it on, and we released everything, because at that point I just felt like, okay, this record is, people love it. He told me it was already a hit in Morocco already, but then I'm like, you know what? Let's just do that version still, because as much as music is energy and you can feel the vibes. Like for instance, I can listen to a Spanish song and
Yeah.
I can like the song,
Facts.
but if the Spanish song has a Nigerian remix in my language, Igbo, for instance, it just connects on a
clicks.
deeper level. Or if it's a Yoruba version, or if it's a Hausa version, it's on a different level of connection.
Facts.
So that was just the logic, and we're like, yeah, let's just put them out and let people just feel the vibes. We just put it out, and people started going crazy for all the remixes. So crazy because all the remixes are successful.
Numbers.
You know what I mean? So that was like 2020. You know what I mean? And this was like in between my deal with Chocolate City and Warner Music SA. So it was it was a crazy time. And COVID and NSAS, like a lot was just going on around that period. But yeah, fast forward 2021, I dropped Boyfriend EP, my next EP.
Yeah.
After that, and out of the blue, there was an illegal remix. Mind you, there's lots of those illegal remixes of Love Nwantintin on the internet, and it's so crazy because a bunch of them have millions of views. But there was a particular one by a DJ from Mauritius, DJ Yo. So he took the acoustic from YouTube and he put drums on it, and he uploaded it. He didn't. I mean, apparently he was trying to reach out to us. Funny enough,
Yeah.
I found this out later on that he actually tried, but his DM got lost in a sea of DMs. So unfortunately, but he just put it out, and I'm glad he did. To be honest, even though it wasn't legal, but I'm glad
Yeah.
he did. He believed in it and he put it out, and it went viral. Everyone loved it, and it's kind of led to a series of trends. Like there was a dance trend, there was a this thing where people were showing their ages, their star
Yeah,
sign, their
yeah,
country.
yeah,
There
yeah,
was
yeah.
that. There was another dance trend. There was just a series of different independent trends on
That
TikTok.
had nothing to do. People just took it upon
They
themselves.
took it
to
upon
start
themselves. It's so crazy because the first dance, I had to actually go and learn the dance and do it after, because it's like people were just doing all kinds of stuff, like, and I'm like, wow, crazy. That version became number one on global Shazam literally 24 hours after my team reclaimed the song.
Wow.
Literally the next day it was number one on Shazam, and it was number one for 2 months straight on global Shazam. And that version was like a catalyst that led to all the versions going crazy. So the original version is also on the top 50, the Moroccan version also on the top 50 Shazam charts, and every other version, literally, like some countries have DJ Yo version number 1, original number 2, Moroccan number 3, or vice versa. Like the 3 versions were
in the
at the
top.
same time. So it was just crazy.
That DJ, so is that DJ cutting a check from?
Of course.
He's smiling too.
He's gonna get a check from
because
the label.
he basically produced
Yeah.
the remix
Yeah,
that
so-
went crazy.
Yeah, so paperwork was signed between the
Yeah.
team and him and everything, so everyone is good.
That's mad.
Shout out to him, man. Like DJ Yo, he's my guy now. At first, I was pissed because
Are you
when I
for
saw the
real?
remix, I was like, yo, because it had millions of streams on Spotify, and it's like, it's not just him. There was like a bunch of other people too.
Legal. So you must have felt like, yo, man,
Millions
these
of-
guys are ripping me off.
Yeah, like lots of people were actually ripping me off. Like,
Damn.
and it's so crazy because even after the DJ Yo version, my team had to take down like 5 versions a week. Like there were like
What?
5 different versions. In fact, some artists, like I'll just be on my own and people would send me videos of people plagiarizing the song. There was one that someone sent to me. I think it's from Bulgaria.
Wow.
So an artist, she took the beat, same everything, same melody, but different lyrics, and it was number 1 in the country, in her country.
No
So
way.
it's ridiculous, man. Like it's a song that is just stubborn.
Nah, that's with the story of the record. First of all, how important is social media now to the music business, especially with what
Very.
you've seen happen with Love Nwantintin?
Very, very. Like how I'm starting to see it is, I feel like for the longest time people have this misconception of online and offline, and it's like
Remember, I
there's
used to push you back then on that social media stuff.
it's like
Now you agree?
no, I always agreed actually, but it's like people always used to demarcate offline and online like
it wasn't
it's not the same
the
thing.
same thing.
But at the end of the day, the social media is literally just like we're in this room and we're
Facts.
connecting.
Facts.
So if we are not in this room, social media would help
Bring
us
together.
be together, and
Facts.
this same conversation would still happen. If let's
I
say you
agree.
meet a girl you like and you talk to her in real life, that's dope. But you could also meet a girl you like on Instagram and talk to her, and it's the
Facts.
same
Facts.
thing. So social media is literally like a web
I
that
like that.
connects everyone. So
Yeah.
right now, I feel like social media is, bro, like if you're not on social media or you don't believe in social media, I don't even know what to say to you, because this is 2021. The world is a smaller place now. Music travels at the speed of light. If the music is good, people will fuck with it. If it's not good,
Facts.
they won't fuck with it. But right now, I feel like with the way social media is right now, the sky is literally the limit.
Facts.
Like you have people going viral every day. You have content creators doing crazy stuff.
Facts.
Not just even musicians, like comedians,
Facts.
influencers, fashionistas,
Yep.
fashion designers, models. Different people are using this platform to share their talents with the world, and the world is
Elevate
loving it.
themselves.
So I would say I'm fortunate to be one of those people that had something to offer, and the world connected with it through social media.
Absolutely. Before we wrap up, you were featured on the Davido record.
Yes.
Talk to me about that record and featuring with one of Afrobeats legends right now in
Legend.
Davido.
Legend. Yo, it's so crazy because I feel like sometimes, the craziest moments in my life happen so, let me not say random, but it happens so unplanned, So it was just a day I went to Budge's house. Actually, I went to see Budge, right? So we were making a song, and I ran into Issa there at the house. So we were all just talking. This was literally my first time going out of my house, actually, after lockdown.
Yeah.
This was the very first time. So I just went there and we're just talking, vibing. And one thing led to another, Me and Issa, we got talking and we exchanged numbers and everything. And it's so funny because me and Issa had actually met a couple of times before. But, sometimes you meet people and the conversation doesn't like
stick well.
Yeah, but this time we just vibed. And a couple of days later, I was in the studio with Blaze Beats.
Yeah.
So we cooked up a vibe, and I was like, yo, this vibe is actually crazy. And the first person that came to my mind was Davido. So I sent Issa a text. I'm like, yo, listen to this. Like, David would sound crazy on this, So immediately, like literally in like 1 or 2 minutes, he's like, oh, David loves the song. Like, let's link up and record it. Let's finish the song. So I'm like, oh, for real? I was like, oh, okay. So I literally got dressed. Like, I didn't expect he was going to revive me that quickly. So I literally got dressed. I got in the car and we went there. and I met Davido, and he was so cool. He was so nice. That was actually my first time meeting him. Like I mean, I used to watch him on TV. Like from Skillewood
Yeah.
days to Dami Duro to
Yeah.
so like yeah, like Davido is definitely one of those people that all of us as youngins were like we look up to. You know what I mean? So I was excited. I was like, yo, let's make the song. So we got in the studio, we made the song, and we put it out. He put it out. He put it on his album. He was really cool. He was the greatest vibes from day one. Really good vibes. Davido is very down to earth. I'm sure you know this. So
Facts.
that's basically how it started.
Facts.
And he put me on the album, and we put out the song, and everyone loved the song. So
Yeah, everybody definitely
big
loves
shout
that.
outs. Big shout out to my big bro Davido.
Now, in a couple of weeks, you've had your own first headline performance in London. A big round of applause to that.
Thank you.
And I have to say, it was at least 98% women. Is that a deliberate action?
Nah, it wasn't.
What's going on there? I walked into the place, I felt like a minority. What's happening? Bruh, it was
Yo,
crazy.
It
bro.
was. It wasn't even deliberate. Like I
What?
mean, bro, like I posted the poster, and
What?
women came. I don't know, man, but
Yo, but what was it like to have your first performance in London
it was amazing.
and to have that type of experience backed up by the incredible composers?
It was amazing. Like it was literally my first performance in London. Like before then, I hadn't even performed at anyone's
Yeah.
show
Yeah.
or anything. Like it was literally my first, and the energy was so crazy. Like, it was one of the most memorable nights of my year. I was like, I remember that night a lot. So big shout out to everyone that came through that day. It was a special day. Big shout out to you too, because I feel like it's so great that you were there, because the first time I was in London, you were the guy. You were the guy that took me around and stuff.
That
So
was emotional for me as well, and I'm very grateful I had the opportunity to share that, to see the story from the
Thank you.
beginning. And you have flowers around the whole place. The ladies love that African boyfriend. Listen, how many girlfriends do you have now? Let's talk that talk.
I don't even have a girlfriend.
So you're just basically having as many relationships as you can.
No,
Talk that chick.
Nah, so I mean I have
You're living your life.
I have lots of friends.
Oh, here we go.
We go. Female friends.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I'm not in a relationship right now. The last relationship I was in didn't end very well.
What song came out
Unfortunately.
from that?
Love Nwantintin.
Oh shoot!
Yeah.
Does she know that she now she
I
does?
think she does.
And
think so.
she hasn't sent you a message maybe to say maybe we can work this out with all these platinum packs you're picking up. We might be able to work this out.
Unlikely. Very unlikely. But yeah, I mean, not smalls. But I mean, it's all good. Like, but right now, yeah, I'm not in a relationship right now. In fact, I feel like I'm too busy to.
Yeah, the same story.
to
That's
be-
the same story.
No.
Listen,
But it's not even just the story. Like, it's literally
it's hectic.
the reality. Like, I used to when I used to see artists say stuff like that, I used to think, oh, it's just bands. But like now that I'm at that point, I actually
part of success,
understand.
yes.
Like I understand exactly what they used to say. Like there's so much involved in relationships. Like there's a lot of attention and time, and it's just hard for someone like me. It's hard.
But yeah, what about like as a creative person in the music business? A lot of people find it very difficult to be in relationships. Do you think that's going to be the story going forward, or you think you'll be able to adapt later on?
To be honest, I feel like to be in a relationship in the entertainment industry. Well, let me not speak for everyone, Sha. Let me speak for myself. But for me to be in a relationship right now, I think there's a high level of understanding that has to be there from my partner, and discipline also for myself too. Because I mean, it's a crazy world we live in.
Your
and-
brother Black Bones said he made it clear that he definitely was gonna hang out with sex over love.
Yeah, I mean that's cool, but for me, I like love, I like relationships. sometimes, I feel like it's just how we're designed as human beings. Like, no matter how long you want to be in the streets, I mean, I've been in the streets, you know what I mean? But no matter how long you want to be in the streets, there's a part of you that always just wants love and wants to be loved, and no one can deny that. So it's kind of the situation, and sometimes sometimes it's just a complicated thing. But let's just say for me right now, I feel like when I meet the right person, I'm gonna know. But right now, I'm not in a mood.
Finally, you walked out at the O2 Arena.
Last night, that was crazy.
20,000 fans. Day 3 of the Wizkid residency, groundbreaking residency at the O2 Arena, to an electric response. I don't know how you walk calmly with that guitar. I would have been playing out of key. Walk me through that experience.
Yo,
from getting a call from Wiz.
That was so crazy. You know what's so crazy? That was so last minute. Like literally on Tuesday. Wait, what's today? Today is Friday, right? So on Thursday.
Today's Thursday.
Oh, today's Thursday. Oh yeah, today is Thursday. So on I think on Tuesday I was just in my house, Then I got the call, and this was so last minute. I was in London 2 weeks ago, so I already left London. I'm like, oh man, I have to go back. So I literally got a ticket that day, and I flew out to London the next day for Wizkid's show, and it was crazy. Like, it's so crazy because the guitar thing was his idea, and he suggested it last minute.
Are you for real?
Like literally last minute.
Had he seen you play guitar before?
I don't know. Like when we were talking backstage, he said he had, but I'm like, oh, I didn't know he had.
Social media,
probably social media. So he was like, yo, let's give them that real music. He was telling me that I feel like sometimes, the normal performances are great and everything, but sometimes you need to play real music. And that was really crazy. So we did it, and it was crazy. He called me up, and I did my thing, and it was crazy. It was my first time performing at the O2, and it was my first time performing with Wiz as well. And he was really cool, great guy, proud of what Afrobeats is doing right now. I feel like right now, like, this is the time. And I feel like I'm happy that there's more and more love in the industry right now, because I think everyone has just realized that there's bigger goals, there's bigger fish to fry. So my generation, the generation before, I just feel like love is key. Love is key. And we have to just conquer the world with this sound. And the only way that can happen is if we're all united and if we all just have love for each other. So last night, I would say, was a testament to that. And big shout out to Wiz for bringing me out. That was a crazy moment.
It was a crazy moment, man, and definitely a memorable moment. Nobody in that crowd will forget who Ckay was. Of course, obviously, everyone was singing the song, but the fact that the way you came out and you just performed calmly, then switched it up and turned it upside down. I thought that was congratulations on that, my brother. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, is the multi-talented and hugely successful, very single Africa's boyfriend, Ckay!
Thanks for having me, man.
Until next time, it's peace. We're out.
Right.